I'm Dick Cooke. Welcome to Cape People. Got a great show for you this time and a fascinating guest. My guest is Florence Rich. And Florence is, what did we decide you were, Florence?
We decided we'd make a rug maker.
A rug maker. We had a lot of other choices, didn't
Yes, we did.
But rug maker. Florence is a rug maker from Wellfleet. And Florence, you've been written up in many publications. You have, from what I understand, a rather national reputation for your work.
Thank you. There's an article coming out in the magazine called Threads in July, I think.
On you and your work?
Yes, written by Mrs. Erickson, Janet Erickson.
Is that right? I'm delighted to have you on the show. I've read about your work and heard about it, and now you're here, and I'm delighted. This is, we're going to take a look at the work that Florence has done. Florence has brought several rugs here to the studio. We're going to look at them, and a little later in the show, we're going to show you how Florence actually takes the wool and tears it by hand, right, Florence?
Mm-hmm.
And then puts it through a machine to get the pieces, and how she actually makes the rug. So you're going to want to stay with us for this edition of Cape People. This is a, let's hold this rug up. We decided this was Birth of a Star, I guess, Florence,
And it's
right?
a wall hanging.
It's a wall hanging.
I made it for one of the shows at the Provincetown Art Association last year.
And your inspiration from this?
I go into outer space once in a while. Yes.
Well, that's good.
I'm particularly interested. I did a wall hanging called The Black Hole, made with metallic material, black and velvet.
Must have been beautiful.
It was a little spooky.
This has a little abstract feeling to it, doesn't it? It's not quite as realistic as some of the things that you do, but the colors are just beautiful.
I think the title of the show the name was Celestial Bodies at the Provincetown Art Association.
Sure. Lovely. And as we said, we're going to be looking at more pieces, and also Florence is going to show us how she actually makes these wall hangings and these rugs. Okay, Florence, what we're going to do now, just so the folks know, we have the rugs that you've brought are laying here on the floor in front of us, and as we talk about them, one camera will focus on the rug, and we'll talk and explain it about the rug. This first rug that we're looking at here, I believe you said this is Montana?
Yes, the name of this is Montana. I was on the Amtrak train going through the state of Montana at night, beautiful moonlight night, and there was a little bit of snow, and it was just so elegant that I sat up almost all the night to watch, and from that I got this design.
So that the colors are the earthen colors
Yes.
of Montana.
And the idea of fence going around, funny little silos, broken it, funny little silos.
These here. Now, that is...
I have a
this right
monogram and a year on most of my rugs.
Okay, and that's what
Sometimes they're camouflaged a little better than that.
That almost looks like tilled farmland that you would see from an airplane.
That's what I saw from
Amtrak.
Amtrak.
The colors are absolutely magnificent. Okay, we'll go on to the next rug, which is this is a lovely, lovely piece, and we'll give the camera a minute to get to it. These are obviously fishes.
Yes, in fact, I don't own this. I've donated this for the fundraising in Wellfleet for their library, and they will be selling this one for chances. They have to raise a great deal of money. It's just the idea of fish, a school of fish, trying to convey the top of water.
Now, you design all of your rugs yourself, too, don't you?
Yes.
Do you work them out on paper first?
Yes. It's sometimes it's rather small, but sometimes it's the full cartoon that I do.
Is it?
It'll be the cartoon is the size that I'll work in, and from that cartoon I get the marks on the backing. I trace it with. I use a lithograph crayon #2, and with a great deal of heat from a flat iron, the wax will go onto the material I'm going to use. You have to be sure to remember reversible reading. The first rug I ever made was not of my design, but it was a pattern of Cape Cod, a map of Cape Cod. I didn't know anything about making rugs, and I used an instrument that you pushed through. It so happened that the right side of the rug was the wrong side of the rug, and therefore the cape was on the coast of, say, the state of Washington.
You just took some geographic license, didn't you?
It was an accident, and I got it out of town.
You did?
Very quickly.
Quickly?
Yes.
So nobody saw it? This is
No,
lovely.
my husband.
Oh, okay. The colors here are soft and muted. They're just lovely.
The previous rug we looked at is an oversupply of camel's hair, camel color, and this one was so many grays, so I designed it to be monochromatic.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we'll take a look at the next rug. Florence, do you have is there any competition, anybody, I don't mean competition, but anybody else doing the same kind of work that you're doing?
I would love to meet somebody, but I don't know of anybody. But I would not, I'm tired of being alone.
Yeah.
I would like to meet somebody.
A little later in the show when we get into the actual work that you do, and you'll show us how you
Oh, there are a lot of
talk
people
about-
making rugs.
Yeah, but not this
A lot of
kind
people making rugs. They hearken to roses and scrolls.
Yeah.
And it's just a repeat of these patterns that have been stamped
Yeah.
before 1950, 1940, 1930, probably at the beginning of 1930.
Yeah.
And they're still doing the same thing.
Same thing.
Mm.
These are fascinating. Now this really is quite a fascinating rug. This is somewhat of a departure from the other rugs, isn't it? Because
This is the medium. I'd like to be using this if I could.
Can we hold this up? Is that going to? Okay. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that? The leaves are all out like this. The trunks are separate from. Isn't that fascinating? Have you done other rugs in this same kind of?
No, I want to when I have time. And you see, here's tour de force, the idea that I can hook something checkerboard.
Oh yes.
And then also some sculpturing. Just sort of a
Oh sure.
showing off of everything.
There is actually sculpture in here.
Yes, that's fun to do.
Isn't that something? Now, a typical question, Florence. How long?
How long does
Yes,
it take?
how
I
long
don't
does it
know.
take, yes.
I can't answer that question. It's generally the first question people ask, but I
Sure.
can't tell.
Sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I hook a while, and then I decide I should use the telephone, and then after that I think I need something to drink or eat, and I can't tell.
Sure.
No.
Is this, do you own this or does someone else own this?
No, this is mine.
This is yours.
I've not sold this.
Is this for sale? Would you?
Oh, yes.
It is,
yes.
yeah. Are these pieces we're looking at, obviously the one that the Wellfleet Library Committee, that's been donated to them, but the rest of these are?
This one belongs to a Mrs. Thomas.
Oh, okay. Let's
Yep.
take a look at, let's just put that
All
over
that I
here.
make are really for sale.
Mhm.
I would like to have somebody else enjoy them. I wish not to have the care of them
Sure.
myself.
Sure.
Once I've made something, I abandon it. I have no more thought of it. I have no affection for it. I'm on to something else.
Mhm.
I've always said that it's a good thing my rugs weren't children. I'd be a bad mother.
Or you might be in jail.
Child abuse, I
Yes.
would.
Let's take a look at this next rug. Now this particular rug is the one that you said is owned by someone else.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now that's a fish pattern again, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. What is the inspiration behind this particular one?
Well, I used a lot of plaids,
Come through here.
and yes, and by using plaids you can make stripes, and the signature is a little more
over
secret
there.
but I couldn't do anything about the 84.
This is the date.
Yeah.
Now, these are fish. This is the second rug that we've seen in this segment of fish. I know that you do rugs in endangered species series. Is this part of that, or is this just a more nature?
With the idea that there can't be water retained by dikes, and the water has to be pure. You can't have red tide. In the morning paper they have something new now called brown tide. So our fish are endangered constantly.
And so you're using fish in the rugs as a way
They're
of,
easy to draw.
but it's also a way of raising awareness.
Yeah, you can get a lot of flowing with fish too,
yeah.
lines.
Yeah. They are lovely. Okay, is that the, that's the last of the ones that we're going to look at in this part of the show. So I think what we'll do is take a break, and when we come back we'll kind of reset the studio, and we'll have you show us a little bit of exactly how you do what you do. And
it's going to be rather a humble affair. I forgot scissors, I forgot my hook.
Oh, listen,
but I have the thing that's
but you
the
brought,
cutter.
Yes, you brought
very important.
The most important thing, and the thing that we're all going to be very interested.
If my house burned down, I'd grab my cutter.
You'd take that first?
Oh, yes.
You'd forget your credit cards?
Oh, I would leave my cats.
You would have cats, as long as you had your cutter.
Yes.
My guest is Florence Rich, Wellfleet, and she's a rug maker, as you can see. We're going to take a break and be back in just a few seconds, so don't go away. And we're back with my guest, Florence Rich, who lives in Wellfleet, and Florence is a rug maker. Florence, another one of those terrible questions, like how long does it take you to make that rug? How many? Do you work every day? A writer sits at his table?
I'm happy if I don't work every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes this glorious, wonderful winter, I've worked 8 hours a day.
Have you?
Yes,
yeah.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good work this winter.
I must ask you, rug making is very close work. It's very concentrated as far as the eyes are concerned. You don't wear glasses.
Yes, when I work.
Oh, you do have
yes,
glasses.
I work.
Yeah.
I have near glasses for reading. Same
Sure.
prescription.
Sure. Well, we promised the folks that we would show them a little bit more about what you actually do. But first of all, and we're going to do that, but first of all, let's take a look at this rug. And the reason that we're showing this rug, Florence, is what?
Well, yeah, I made it to be an antique reproduction, but I brought it especially so that you could see what it's like after it's been on the floor and been walked on. Rugs are not good looking until they're about 5 years old and in use. They have a different look altogether.
So they have to age.
They have to be walked on.
Yeah.
And all the little loops get flattened down.
Yeah, they're not standing up
That's right.
separate.
Yeah.
They've kind of...
I block a rug after I finished it, but it isn't the same. It does look better than when I first took it off the frame, but it has to be on the floor. It has to get the colors go down in value some, and that is very precious. And also, a rug should be squashy. This is the right texture for a rug.
It's very different.
That's a healthy rug.
Very different from a new rug.
It should not be stiff as a board.
Yeah. Do you ever, when you finished a particularly, of course you said once you finish your rug,
I'm through with it.
Finished.
Yes.
You never wonder about what it does look like 5 years from now?
Oh, I had some people bring me a rug to be repaired. A dog had chewed it, and I hadn't seen it for 40 years.
40 years?
Yes, and it had a quality of an Oriental. I was so pleased with it. It was a Truro rug.
It was a rug you had made?
Yes, it was. It belonged to Perry Wilson and Joe Anthony. They're both theater people, and they'd inherited it from their mother and father. And I was so delighted. I fell in love with it.
What was it like seeing a rug 40 years later, one that you had actually made and hadn't seen in the meantime?
I know, that's true. But
Must have been an experience for you.
Yes, it was. It was. It was a. The color was fine. It was to be an antique because they had an antique Cape Cod house. It looked very well. The pink was sort of an orangey pink. That's really hard to picture, but and very heroic red roses.
Must have been an experience.
I was delighted.
Oh,
Very
good for
delighted.
you. Good for you. So this is how a rug. It's nice and squishy and it's matted.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Stamp
now,
on it.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at a rug that is in the process of
Just off the frame.
just off the frame. All right.
It hasn't
Brand
even
new.
been bound.
Okay. And now this is. Well, let's get it open here before we start talking about it.
I think his name is Oscar.
Oscar,
I think so.
is it?
I think so.
Oscar the bear.
Now he's an endangered species. He's
Endangered.
part of my series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you speak of your series, Florence, is this a series that you have done, or is this a commissioned series? or-
No, it's just
Your
in
series.
my mind it's a series,
Yeah.
but everybody from Weehawken might own one. You know, I don't know where they've gone
Sure.
particularly. But this one will be bound. This will go back like that. And
Oh, I
that'll
see.
be the edge.
So this will be an oval. This will be
Yes.
an oval rug.
But this one will also have wool knotted fringe about that width.
Okay.
It'll be off-white.
Okay. This
Mhm.
color.
Sort of an off-white. Hmm.
This blue is such a soft, lovely.
I tried to get the midnight sun blue.
Yeah, lovely. And you designed this.
Well, there wasn't much to design with it because it has this wonderful swoop that just makes an oval. But, of course, I had to draw it.
You had to draw
Yes, drawing is difficult.
Mm-hmm. You draw right onto the piece that you're
No,
working
I
on?
make a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
A large piece of paper, a large piece of brown paper, and I use charcoal first, and then you can rub off charcoal, and then when I've got a line that I know I'm going to want, I use a magic marker. And on top of the rough drawing, I put tracing paper. If it has to be traced on the right side, I use a pencil, then turn the tracing paper over and make very large marks, again with the lithograph crayon, number 2. That makes the wax. Then I put it on this
Then it comes onto
material.
this
Yeah.
piece here.
Yeah.
And this is what you actually loop
These
into.
this is the material I put the little hook through to bring up the top side.
My. Did you ever, when you were working on this white or the blue, did you ever think, you know, it would never end? Because there's many, many loops in there, loops after
Well, I
loops.
don't think of that. It's as if you were painting with a brush and making hash marks at a background
Yeah.
and making a very large painting. I don't really think too much of it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, just beautiful. And of course, down at the bottom is your initials, the FR
And the 86.
and the 86 over here. Just lovely. Okay, now, you know what everybody out there is saying is, when are they going to get to the part where
That's
she
what you're
shows us
showing how
how
to
she
cook
does
it.
what she
Yes,
does,
right.
right?
So,
So we better do that. Let's put that there and bring this over
I'm
here.
so sort of professional that I use very new, good goods. But
Okay.
you can use recycled wool.
Now, this is just a piece of wool.
Yes.
Now, what are you doing? You're-
I'm making a
Okay.
so that I can get the straight of the goods.
Okay. And you tear it.
So there I know that that's the weave. That's the straight of the
And
goods.
you cut it with the
No, I can put this through.
no, I mean when you cut it, it's not with the grain, but what do they say in
The weave.
The weave, yes.
You're thinking of the
The
weave,
yeah.
yes.
You cut it against the weave or with?
No, with the weave.
the
With the
weave.
weave, yes. And I always have a torn edge. See, this is as it came to me.
Okay. Mhm.
That I don't want. That I ignore. So that's
Okay.
always the top.
This is the pinked.
Yes, that's done with pinking, and it's probably not on the straight.
Mhm.
But when I put it through the machine that makes the strips for me, it has to be on the straight.
Okay. So you cut it this size. So, now, what is this called, this machine
That's
here?
called a cutter.
A cutter.
Yeah, a stripper, or a cutter.
Okay.
Rug cutter.
Is this a rather ordinary piece of equipment that other rug workers
No,
have?
this one is a rather special one that I used to sell years ago when I had my gallery in
Are
Wellfleet.
these made commercially?
I
or-
would like very much to find somebody that would stop making them again. Yeah,
So-
I need a machinist.
So, in other words, you have not found another one like this?
No.
How
The
many?
man that made these for me has passed on.
No. Okay. How many of these do you have?
Just the one.
This is the only one
The
you
only
have?
one I have. And I got it with my life. If you noticed, I took it out of my bag. I had it in a stocking hat.
Yes, I noticed
Yes,
that.
yes.
So, do you does this have to be maintained? Do you have to oil it or?
Yes, I have somebody that's clever enough to take it apart. But the usual cutter presses the material to be cut. This has blades that bypass each other so that they actually cut, and also rather sharpening to each other. They
Okay.
sharpen, perpetual sharpening.
Okay.
The straighter the goods, and I hug it up to there.
And it comes out in strips.
Comes out in strips.
Look at
There.
that. Then do you put this piece through too?
Again.
Again.
Mhm.
And
Wouldn't
get-
you like to try it?
Could I?
Sure.
Okay.
You put it up close.
Does it matter which
Nope,
edge?
doesn't
Okay,
matter.
put it
There
up
you are.
into the- and get it in, feed it in, right?
Yeah,
And then just start cranking?
that's right.
Look at that. It's working. Isn't that? And there they are. Isn't? So you just kind of pull them apart.
Yeah.
Isn't that? So, now, of course, could you, if you didn't have this cutter, could you cut? I mean, could you cut them apart if you had to?
When I first started to hook, we did not have a cutter, and we had large shears, and you'd spend hours making the strips, and also you'd have them fine, and to this day I can cut on the thread of the
can?
weave. Yes, I'm so well trained.
But of course, this makes it quick work.
I work with scissors that are sort of bent.
Oh,
because,
let's look at
see
the
that-
camera. See that?
Yeah, that cuts the surface flat. The only thing I cut is the loop that I bring up topside, and when I end, and I bring the end up topside, and those two get cut.
Isn't that fascinating? Florence, how long have you been making rugs?
Oh, I started in about 1940, 1939, before my son, about 1937. That's when I made the rug that was the map of Cape Cod on the west coast.
Oh, that ended up in Washington State?
Yes, right. And then you store things in bundles as you're making it. This is how you can be neat.
And you keep them...
Yeah.
Do you look for certain colors? I mean...
Oh, I do a lot of dyeing.
Oh,
I
you
do a
dye,
lot of
do you?
dyeing. Yes, I do a lot of dyeing.
So you
But I
buy
get
the-
my supplies from Marie Griswold in Pembroke. And she has a supply house for people that braid rugs and hooking rugs.
But you do dye your...
Oh yes, I do a lot of dyeing.
You're incredible. Let's take a look. Here are a couple of pictures of this is a wall hanging, actually, isn't it? Gorgeous, gorgeous wall hanging of fish. And I believe, wasn't this picture...
That was the one that was in the
Review?
Review magazine.
Yeah.
Yes, and a much better picture and true to color. I don't know how they did it, but that's a very poor photograph.
Yeah, at least we get the idea of the... and
This is my favorite.
Oh, you like...
I like my.
This is a squid, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very comical. I'm very fond of squid.
This is a rug that you made.
Yes, and it was sold in a show at the Provincetown Art Association.
Florence, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. How did you get started doing this kind of work and ending up here on the
Well, I did everything wrong at the beginning, but I had a very dear friend that was having some lessons. And although I was in no position to have lessons on the Cape, I could go and visit her and talk with her. And I did flowers and scrolls like everybody else to begin with.
With this same kind of
Well, dyeing, a lot of dyeing.
dyeing.
A lot of dyeing,
yeah.
yes.
Now, was that on Cape that you did this?
Oh, well, I used to teach it, you see, but I tried to have people do their own designs all the time that I was teaching. And I shall really go down in defeat because I don't think any one of them ever designed. I think they all bought stamp patterns. I worked with 168 ladies one winter, from Provincetown to Centerville. That's an awful lot of ladies. A lot of defeatism, too.
And they're probably still doing
There's some, yes. There's some still hooking.
Where can people see if they would like to see more of your work?
Oh, during the summertime and when there is not snowdrifts, I have a studio that
Oh, you
they can
do?
visit.
Okay, they can come and see you. The other thing that you told me, you had the first gallery in Wellfleet.
I moved 3 different times, but the time that was the longest is what's now Fox's Den in Wellfleet,
Oh, is
in
it?
a parking lot across the street from the Catholic Church. I had great shows. Judge Biddle, and I had marvelous shows.
But you had the first
It was a
gallery.
New York stable that I had.
Was it?
Yeah.
And now you make rugs on commission. People commission you to make
Yes, well,
rugs.
I hooked rugs in too.
Yeah. So what do people do? Do they ask you for a certain design, or do they say, make me a rug?
Yeah, I have a commission now for a home in Maryland, and it has something to do with riding to the hounds, and she wants a fox
Oh.
in the wall hanging.
So you design that? And
I'm thinking about it.
You haven't said yes, you mean?
Oh yes, I have said yes, but I'm taking my time. You have to be sort of hot. You get hot when and it's in your mind and you can't let it go, and you really have to do it.
How did these people in Maryland hear about you all the way up here in the Cape?
Oh, I've known her for a long, long
Oh,
time.
okay,
Yes,
very
and her mother has my rugs. She
Uh-huh.
has quite a few of my rugs. Yeah.
Well, this is just fascinating. I wish we could had more time to spend with you.
I forgot to tell you that I did seashells. There's much that I've
you did?
done. Yes, did a lot of seashells.
Designs of seashells.
Mhm.
The opportunity for doing a lot of nice color with seashells.
Oh, a lot of dyeing, dyeing. Well, one was 6 feet in diameter, so that's quite a big
boy.
rug.
You dyed and you have to hang them up to dry, and
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes,
my.
yes.
well, you're amazing.
Well, the craft is pretty special.
You're just
I can't think of not having it to do.
You're amazing, just amazing.
Think of what you do in a snowstorm. You hook a rug.
Hook the rug. Florence, I want to thank you for being on the show a lot. It's
I'm
been
pleased to be invited.
it's just been lots of fun.
been
I'm
very
very
kind.
impressed with what you're doing. My guest has been Florence Rich of Wellfleet. Of course, as you know, if you've been watching the show, Florence is a rug maker. And Florence, we're going to get you back on the show again sometime to show
Thank you.
us some.
I'll bring a frame and my
Good.
hook and the whole thing.
Great. I'm Dick Cooke. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.